Once upon a time, in a small, quiet town named Willowfield, something strange happened. It was a town where people knew each other, and the streets were usually safe. Children played outside, and everyone felt at peace. But one dark evening, all of this changed. A young girl named Lucy lived in Willowfield. She was 11 years old, with bright blue eyes and curly brown hair. Lucy was full of life, always smiling, and loved by everyone. She lived with her mother, Mrs. Harper, and their big brown dog, Maximum. Lucy's father had passed away when she was very young, so her mother was both her mum and dad. They shared a special bond. One day after school, Lucy decided to visit her friend, Mia. Mia's house was not far from hers, just a few blocks away. Mrs. Harper always told Lucy to be careful and to come home before it got dark. But that day, Lucy was having so much fun playing games at Mia's house that she lost track of time. When she finally looked at the clock, it was already evening. Lucy quickly put on her shoes, grabbed her school bag, and said goodbye to Mia. She started walking home, and although the streets were empty, Lucy wasn't scared. She knew the path very well and thought she would be home soon. But as she walked down a quiet lane, she felt someone was watching her. She turned around, but there was no one there. She kept walking faster, feeling uneasy. Suddenly, a man stepped out from behind a tree. He wore a long black coat, a hat that covered his face, and dark gloves. He looked at Lucy with a strange smile. "Hello, little girl," he said in a calm voice. "Are you lost?" Lucy shook her head. She could feel her heart beating fast. "No, I'm just going home." The man took a step closer. "It's getting late. Let me give you a ride home." Lucy knew she should not talk to strangers. Her mother had always warned her. She took a step back and said, "Thank you, but my house is very close. I can walk." The man's smile faded. "Oh, come on. It's not safe for a young girl to walk alone at night." Lucy started to run. But before she could get far, the man grabbed her arm and pulled her back. Lucy screamed, but the streets were empty, and no one was around to hear her. The man held her tightly and put his hand over her mouth. She tried to fight, but he was too strong. The man dragged Lucy into his car, which was parked nearby. He quickly tied her hands with a rope and covered her eyes with a blindfold so she couldn't see where they were going. Lucy was terrified. She didn't know what would happen to her. The car moved for a long time. Lucy felt every bump in the road and tried to remember the turns. But it was hard. Finally, the car stopped, and the man carried her into a house. He took off her blindfold and pushed her into a small, dark room. The room had no windows, just a single dim light hanging from the ceiling. Lucy was scared and started to cry. Meanwhile, back at home, Mrs. Harper was getting worried. It was very late, and Lucy was not home. She tried calling Mia's house, but Mia's mother said Lucy had left hours ago. Mrs. Harper's heart filled with fear. She called the police and told them everything. The police quickly started searching for Lucy. They searched every street, asked people in the neighborhood, and put up posters with her picture. The whole town was worried. Even Max, Lucy's dog, seemed to know something was wrong. He kept barking and scratching at the door, waiting for Lucy to come home. Back in the dark room, Lucy thought about her mother and Maximum. She missed them so much and felt alone. But Lucy was a brave girl. She decided she wouldn't give up. She started looking around the room to see if there was any way to escape. The man visited Lucy every day, bringing her food and water. He told her that she couldn't leave until he got what he wanted. Lucy didn't know what he wanted, but she listened carefully to everything he said. She noticed that each time he opened the door, he used a key. Lucy made a plan. She decided to pretend to be friendly with him. She started talking to him whenever he came to the room. She asked about his life and listened to his stories. The man was surprised at first, but he liked the attention. He started talking more, feeling like Lucy was his friend. One day, when he was telling a story, he forgot to lock the door behind him. As soon as he left, Lucy saw her chance. She quickly ran to the door, opened it, and started running. She didn't know where she was, but she didn't care. She just wanted to get away from that house. Lucy ran through fields, crossed a river, and followed a road until she saw a small house in the distance. She knocked on the door, and an old woman opened it. The woman was shocked to see a young girl, tired and dirty, standing at her door. Lucy explained everything, and the woman immediately called the police. The police arrived quickly and took Lucy back to her mother. Mrs. Harper hugged her tightly, tears in her eyes. She couldn't believe her daughter was safe. Max barked happily, jumping around Lucy, licking her face. The police searched for the man who had kidnapped Lucy. They went to the house she described, but he was gone. They found some clues and promised Mrs. Harper they would catch him soon. Lucy was safe, but the memory of that dark room stayed with her. After that, Lucy and her mother decided to help other children learn about safety. They started visiting schools, talking to children about the importance of being careful, and teaching them to say no to strangers. Lucy became a hero in Willowfield, and her story reminded everyone to look out for each other. Willowfield returned to being a peaceful town, but people were more aware and cautious. And Lucy? She grew up strong and wise, always helping others and never forgetting the lesson she had learned. She knew that, no matter what, courage and kindness could change the world. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and leave a comment below with your thoughts on the story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon to stay updated with more exciting content. Happy listening!